Hello everybody, welcome back to the FRA Radio podcast. I'm your host Chloe Dean and today I'm joined by a very special guest, Charlotte.
Hi.
Would you like to introduce yourself for everyone?
So hi, my name's Charlotte Mead. I'm founder of Atta Digital, which is a social and digital marketing agency. We cover everything organic, social and website design.
Another little bit about Charlotte is that she is a FRA alumni. So would you like to tell everyone a little bit about your time at the FRA?
Yes, so I actually discovered the FRA when I was 15, still doing my GCSEs or just before, and I was like, this just looks right up my street. I was never too academic. I sort of knew I liked the art and the sort of drama side of school and the creative side of school, but I also didn't like doing something for no reason. Like and for me, like why I've gone into marketing is it's doing something creative but with strategy and with purpose that you actually see results. So it's the perfect mix of both. So when I saw the FRA and I saw this fashion business course, I actually initially wanted to do the degree. And I thought, well, what's the best way for me to get to be able to do the degree? Well, obviously do the level 3. And I spoke to my mum and dad about it, and they're quite traditional. You need to do the A levels, you need to go to sixth form college. And I said, come on, let's just go to an open day. And we did. And my mum came and she just absolutely loved it. She said it was great. She also thought as well, yes, if I want to go and do the degree, it's so much quicker. I'll be out ahead of all my peers. So then after that, I still did apply for a sixth form and obviously level 3 fashion business here. But I always knew I was going to go here. And the one thing I wanted was to pass maths. I was like, I need to pass maths so I can get in, and I did. I had a tutor for maths and then I got in, and yeah, the rest is history. I feel like I really did go from a really young girl, 15, in just outside of London where I live, to someone coming into London twice a week, meeting new people from Essex, Kent, all over. My family have always said to me, you grew up so quickly. And I do think it's a big part of it. I do think the FRA shaped a huge part of who I am today. And I really enjoyed it. There was not any part of it I didn't enjoy. Even like doing my degree work, I really, really enjoyed it. So I think that made me realise, when people say, oh, you need to do something that you enjoy work-wise, otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah.
And I just think you would naturally work harder at something when you enjoy it. So and then it was a no-brainer. I was going to stay and do the degree. Although lockdown did happen, so I didn't even get to do my final project at level 3. We were just given grades. So I was really lucky I got a good grade and got into the next level. And I'm first in my family to go to university and have a degree. Even though both my parents have been very successful, it was olden days, I didn't do degrees. But so it was quite an achievement to be the first one to graduate and have a graduation. And I really enjoyed it. So
what was your journey like then after leaving the FRA to where you are now?
So it's a bit different with the FRA, isn't it? It's a traditional uni. So we had our results, I think, in the August, and I decided that once I'd finished my dissertation, I was like, I'm going to start applying for jobs as soon as. I'm not going to wait to get my grade. And so I actually got my first marketing role before I even had my grade. I just had my predicted grades. And that was for DHL, so the logistics company, which is really, really cool. They do a lot of sponsorships in F1. They do a lot around sustainability. It sounds really, like DHL sounds really boring, but where they cover so many sectors as a logistic company, the marketing was quite exciting.
There's so many different things you can do.
Yeah, so I actually landed that role in the October and then graduated in the November. So I definitely feel like, and also with the FRA I did an internship at Space NK, so I think having that experience whilst doing my degree for 3 months then really helped me land a role before even having my qualification yet. So I did, and then I went to DHL.
And then what was it after that? Did you then quit to start your business, or how did that come about?
So I was at DHL for about 2 years. And then I left to go to another company because I wanted to do, so DHL was definitely more website orientated. So I was like, I want to do a little bit more like social media stuff, because I was already doing a little bit of sort of micro-influencing from the age of about 16 to about 18. Then I stopped and I thought, I have a bit of experience in it. I did a bit of it at Space NK. I want to go into more of the socials. So I did a digital marketing executive was my title, but I did more of managed all the socials there. And they're a lighting company that do like all the lighting and set design for like Glastonbury, Adele, like all those lights that you see pretty much at any global event is that company. And I learned a lot in 6 months because it was pretty much all me. There was a head of marketing, but I pretty much did everything on the social side. But I just felt there's so much more I could do. And I was seeing friends that work for different companies or friends that make work for themselves. And I thought, do you know what? Like, I actually learned so many skills from the FRA. I really have a good understanding of strategy and customer journey, why videos do well, and I had a couple of viral videos under my belt, and I thought, no, I'm just going to do it. And I would say my partner was the most supportive. He said to me, okay, if you quit your job, I'll buy you a Mac. Because I was scared, you know, I've someone who's, you know, I'll be fully transparent. I built up a house deposit. I had saved really, really hard. It wasn't in my nature to quit my job at all. In fact, when I thought of my dream, I wanted to be high up in, you know, like a big company. Yeah. Because that's what my mum and dad had done. And I just thought, but no, it was like a gut feeling. And I can even remember driving my first day of the lighting company job thinking, if this doesn't work, I'm just going to do it on my own. And like 6-8 months later, I did. So yeah, and I'm glad I did.
Oh my God. Was there something in particular that like inspired you to start your own business, or do you think it is just what you always wanted to do?
I think seeing other people doing it and knowing that I could do it, and the feeling of I'm literally only going to be this young once, why not do it now? Yeah. And the thing that held me back was I had saved the money, and obviously naturally you've got to spend your own money to start with, and it was, and also I was used to a life where I could just, you know, I was earning good money. I had 4 years under my belt. Same paycheck every month. Yeah, and I was like, oh, I'm scared. But the thing that motivated me was, I think, my granddad wanted to continue and make him proud. Like, I was his full-time carer for about six months, so we were best friends. And he, like, you know, I used to leave the care home and I'd hear him talking to him, oh, that's my youngest granddaughter. She's so, he really, really believed in me and was proud of my career. Even though it was only 4 years, but I just thought, no, I want to do something that I believe in, that makes me want to get up every day, even if at the start it's going to be less money or no money, you know. But I was like, I'd rather be happy. And but it was hard. Like, my partner was, I would say, was the most supportive to start with. My dad has always said to me from a young age, if there's anything you want to do it, we will support you. So I always know how to, but I think my mum was slightly like, oh my God, like, are you going to have no money and all of this? And I was just like, I just got to do it.
Yeah. What would be like a bit of advice you'd give to someone who is like looking to start their own business?
I think I would say it's so overused, but rejection is redirection. There was a client I really, really wanted. I was in bits when they basically ghosted me. You know, there's loads of people that are going to say, oh, I want to sign, I want to do this, and then it will just ghost you. Yeah. But I'm so glad back in January that I didn't sign them, because it then meant that I really, really worked really, really hard, and I've gone into an industry that I love, which is the wellness and the beauty side and the fashion and then the F1, rather than this was food and beverage. And like, realistically, food and beverage isn't really my niche. Yeah. I think, definitely don't take rejection too hard. Don't get me wrong, I still cry sometimes if I get rejected, because it is really tough. Yeah. And you think, what have I done wrong? What did I say? But a lot of it is them and their budget constraints, and there's a big commitment for them. And also, try your best to build your own platform so that people are coming to you. Like, warm inbound leads are always going to be so much better. And I know it sounds bad, but definitely help small businesses and work with small businesses, but you are ultimately, there are going to be more rejections because they won't have the budget. Yeah. So try to go for those slightly bigger brands, but also do a bit for free. I think sometimes do a tiny bit for free, get that on your portfolio, and you'll get an even bigger client because you're doing that for free. It's great, and I think just keep going.
Yeah. Speaking of like getting clients and stuff, how do you actually like meet people or reach out to people?
So at first it was a lot of going out. I've actually never cold called. I've actually cold gone in, because I think a lot of people respond better when they see your face and that you are passionate.
It's harder to say no to someone's face.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it was really, really scary. I can remember sitting there literally repeating what I'm going to say in my head before I went in. Now I will just speak to anybody. But it was really like, how am I going to say it? Hi, my name's Charlotte, I've done this. And I just overthought it too much. But so initially it was going into people, telling them my experience, what I'd done, doing sort of discovery calls with them, showing them what I could do, them sort of discussing with me what they want, and then signing them that way. And then the other way is inbound. So I've had a lot through my inquiry form, which I'm really lucky. A few of my TikToks on my Atta account have blown up, where I've had a few inquiries from, which again are more my industry. So yeah, I would say staying consistent online, trying to post as much about you and yourself and something that will make people want to work with you and ultimately inquire. But also when you do a job, do it well.
Yeah.
Then you get word of mouth. So I've had a lot through word of mouth. Oh, my friend, you work with my friend, I'd like you to come do content for us, or can we have a call about social media strategy as you're helping my friend who has this business. So definitely to get clients and retain them is to go out there, be yourself, show your face, but also then when you've got them, do your best job, especially your first few clients, because word of mouth spreads.
Yeah.
And you get more.
Sorry, I was just going to say, do you have lots of different clients, or have you got quite a small?
So I've got quite a few. So I've got a lot in the wellness space. So I do quite a bit for my local David Lloyd club. So that's obviously the wellness and fitness space, and I'm trying to get more into that club, golf club, that type of vibe. But then I also have a lot of aesthetics practitioners. So they do a lot of the Botox, the filler, the injections, the non-surgical stuff. Got a few lash studios, hair studios. Then we've also got the fashion brand. So I've actually got a activewear brand hopefully signing this week. And then I also work with a bikini brand. So I do a bit of fashion, beauty, wellness, and then obviously I have the F1 stuff coming up, which I'm really excited about. But yeah, so a mix of clients, but still within the sort of same niche.
Would you like to talk a bit on the F1 stuff you've got coming up?
Yeah. So excitingly, I'm on my first work trip next week, where I'm going to Monaco for the Grand Prix, which I'm very, very excited for. And it's to basically get content for this VIP viewing platform where you can view the Grand Prix from, and VIP tours of the Monaco track and Monaco. So basically we'll go on the tours, get content of them, and then VIP 1-on-1 or 2-on-1 tours. And then obviously watch the Grand Prix from the terrace and get content of all of that. So yeah, it should be really good. I've got all my outfits. I know that's not really the main reason, but...
No, that's so the main reason. Come on. If you're doing socials, it has to be the outfits.
Exactly, and my partner's coming. So I have told him, well, you are part of the team, so you are going to have to be working a little bit. But it's just before my birthday, so it's really nice. We're sort of doing that as a trip. And then, yeah, getting content for the Silverstone F1 Grand Prix for the pop-up hotel, which is a company that, it's glamping, and they do it at Glastonbury and they do it at Silverstone. And I'm doing that, assisting with my friend's company as well. He's called Paddock Fashion, shout out to them. And they do a lot in the sort of F1 space, and I work quite closely with them, assisting them. So yeah, exciting stuff this summer.
That's really exciting. No, it sounds so great. It sounds so exciting. And it sounds, the way you say it all, like it comes really easy, but obviously it doesn't. What are the sort of the main challenges that you faced along the way?
Ghosting. I'll be so real. You just get ghosted. And you put a lot of time in for free. Emailing back and forth with people, discovery calls, strategy, other extra meetings, where I've definitely tried to stop giving away free tips, because it's really hard. You're trying to prove yourself. You want this client to sign. You're saying, I've done this, I've done it. And I just think actually there's an element of I'm giving quite a bit away for free. And I used to do really, really personalised stuff, which I still do personalised meetings where, this is what I would do, this is what I wouldn't do. But I think the challenging part is trying not to be too nice. I've got to almost remember, this is my business too. So I think the ghosting bit can be hard if you really think you're going to sign someone and they ghost. Also, the hard bit is also the accountancy and all the other rubbish that goes with it. I had to set up company's house. I've had to set up all my accounts, all this stuff that no one tells you what to do. I mean, initially I signed up for VAT. I signed up VAT. Then I was because the client was do you charge VAT? And I was yeah. This is me being totally real. And then I did it. And then I was why have I done that? I spoke to my accountant. He's you don't need to do that. It's just going to be extra admin for you. You're going to have to do VAT returns every month. So you don't need to register for that until you're making over a certain amount. Yeah. So I was okay, deregister. So I had to deregister and all of this stuff that no one tells you about. You don't learn it in school. So it was all of those things all those mistakes. But now I've learned from it.
How did you learn those sort of things? Like
Just
with
by
starting
doing
up?
it and getting it wrong.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I did the VAT return myself whilst crying. No, I signed up for it whilst crying, thinking like, oh my God. Then I realised, I spoke to my friend who's actually an accountant, and I was like, do I just deregister? And she was like, yeah. And then you had to do a VAT return for the time you were registered. But I managed to do that all right somehow. I haven't heard anything from HMRC, so I'm sure it's fine. But yeah, you just got to do it.
YouTube.
Yeah, no one in my family's ever run their own business. Like, it's really difficult.
Yeah.
Just got to research and talk to friends that do know and just try.
And how long has Atta Digital been a brand for now?
So I registered them in December, but we launched 6th or 8th of Jan, so not long.
So not long, and you're already doing so well.
Yeah.
Where do you see the business of the brand going?
So I do
the
have...
future, sorry, not the business.
It's all right.
Where do you see the future of the brand going?
So the dream is to be an agency. So I do have Sophie, who goes here, who works with me part-time, and she comes on shoots and things like that. So the dream is to hopefully as well, when I'm on holiday, not be working, be able to have Sophie doing a bit more, and basically have a bit more of a team, so that as it gets busier, I'm still doing quite a lot of it, but I'm not doing all the clients. So eventually we can take on more clients, because at the moment I have to turn away a few because I can't fit it in, and I'd rather not fit it in and it basically be not as good quality work, because I definitely think feedback I get from clients that have worked with social media marketers before is, oh, I felt like I wasn't a priority. They had so many clients. I mean, I've had people come to me that I know the agency they worked with, and they're a lot bigger than me, and they didn't even tell their client what the marketing funnel was.
Oh, really?
Haven't explained content pillars to them. And I'm thinking, okay. And another point I want to make is the difference of Atta Digital is we're not just social media managers, we're marketers. There's a difference.
Yeah.
There's a difference between someone posting 3-4 times, as you know, 3 or 4 times a week on your page. Yeah, lovely aesthetic content, but if it's not landing and there's no strategy, what's the point?
Yeah.
It's actually a waste of time.
Yeah.
So that's another thing I always say in my discovery calls is, I'm a marketer, my experience is marketing. I will study and create a 2-week strategy for you, and spend the first 2 weeks of that on that, because I want to work with you and it work.
Yeah.
I don't want to work with you and it not work. So I would say that's why in 4 months we've done quite well, because we're able to actually do content that lands and works, rather than just keeping someone's feed nice.
How would you work out how to make a marketing strategy for a certain brand? Because obviously you go from F1 to Wellbeing, they're quite different spectrums.
Yeah, so I have a strategy template, which I naturally do follow, but then I'll have clients that are just Instagram, so they have a completely different strategy to a client that's TikTok and Instagram. And I do think that I try to stay away from posting the same stuff on Instagram and TikTok. I think naturally some reels will do well on TikTok, and you can do a bit of both, but I do try to do a different strategy for different platforms, because ultimately it's a different audience. I mean, LinkedIn's completely different, and Facebook is naturally an older generation, not always, but most of the time. So and again, the strategy is from the FRA, it's all the skills I learned at the FRA, and then obviously went to go on and use in industry. And there's another thing why I love the FRA and why I'll always talk about it so much, because, and I mean that, I'm not, don't know if I can say that, but I just think it teaches you actually what industry's like, rather than university where it's all lecturers that have not been in industry for 10 years.
Yeah.
Here your lecturers are all still in industry, or literally just left, and I think it actually sets you up for what you actually need. So yeah, understanding basics like SWOT, PESTLE, all of that, the marketing funnel, content pillars, all of that's included in the strategy, and all of that I initially learned here.
Yeah. What's some advice that you would give to students leaving FRA now?
Don't take it for granted what you actually are learning here, because there's a lot of people at different unis, even studying a similar course to you, that won't have the skills that you have. Use it in your interviews, explain that you've done it. A big thing that the people who interviewed me, because obviously they went on to be my bosses, said to me was, we really liked that you were motivated to do your course in 2 years and not 3. That said a lot about me. I think I mentioned that, I always said that in my interviews, I wanted to get ahead, and I think, don't take it for granted, and definitely utilise that you went to the FRA. There's a lot of people that I can't lie, that are in my wider friends and family, they're like, why have you gone there? But
Yeah.
that's not like, I don't know, Oxford and Cambridge. And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, but do you know what, actually for what I want to do, that's the best thing I can do. So
And just before we finished, Ada Digital, it's such a unique name. Could you tell us where that came from?
yeah, so many people are like, what the hell is that, a digital? But yeah, so as I mentioned before, I was really, really close to my granddad. He really, really pushed me on with lots of his. He was 93, I think, when he died, and he pushed me on with all those traditional, like Go Get 'Em Tiger, Atta Girl, and the one he always used was Atta Girl. So it just came second nature to me when he passed, and when I launched to just call it Atta Digital, it just flowed, and yeah, so.
Exciting, I love it. Okay, cool. Well, that will wrap up the session today.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming in today. It's been really nice to talk to you. For everyone listening or watching, make sure to give Atta Digital a follow.
Yeah.
And support the brand.
Instagram, TikTok.
Instagram,
LinkedIn.
TikTok, Atta Digital, LinkedIn. And yes, thank you very much for listening and have a lovely day.
Thanks for having me.